Hey YouTube, this week I got an email from a fellow dog trainer, Michelle, and she asked about how to teach back up. Now I spoke about back up in a previous video when I was talking about the 2 hand signals I use most with deaf dogs. One of those hand signals is back up. And she wanted to know, how do you actually go about teaching a dog that skill? So I'm going to show you 4 different methods to teach your dog to walk backwards. I'm going to preface this by saying the first 2 are not going to be appropriate for all dogs. Choose one of the other methods instead. They may take a little bit longer, but it's much better to use those rather than risk your relationship. So let's get started. The first method is going to be simply walking towards your dog.
My very first goal is actually to get Chaos nice and straight against the wall. Then I'm going to take 1 step towards him, and as he either weight shifts backwards or actually takes a step backwards, then I'm going to say yes to mark the behaviour and then feed him. I bring him forwards with a touch, I take 1 step, and the moment he takes a step back, I say yes and reinforce. In this next part, we try to build a few more steps. So I continue to walk towards him and Chaos continues to walk backwards, so we can get multiple steps all strung in a row. The next layer is adding a verbal cue. So here I say back up and then I walk towards him. And then we repeat. I bring him forward with a nose touch. I say back up and then wait for him to offer the behaviour. Chaos finds cue transfer really tricky, so I just take my time and I help him out where I can.
Good boy, well done. The second method is luring. So for this strategy, I'm going to try to lure their nose towards their chest, and as I move my hand backwards, most dogs will start to step backwards. Okay, you ready? Get it.
You can see how these first 2 strategies wouldn't be appropriate for a shy or pressure-sensitive dog. Just use one of the others instead.
Nice work. Good boy. You get that. The third strategy is teaching your dog to back foot target. You'll notice with Chaos, the unexpected raised step is a little bit tricky for him. So with a dog like that, where it's actually the height that's a bit tricky, try something like a flat doormat.
The first step in teaching back foot targeting is to build some value in a platform or a surface. So here I'm just feeding Chaos for staying on the platform, then I'm luring his front paws off and I'm feeding lots and lots and lots for him keeping his back foot on. Then, because he's built so much value for this surface, as I lure him forwards, you'll notice that he naturally lifts a back paw. And so what I can do is actually mark and reinforce him for putting his paw back on.
Yes, good boy. Yes.
The next layer is to add a little bit of distance. So I'm going to move back. I'm going to try to bring him a little bit further forwards, and then again mark and reinforce when he starts to back foot target that platform. You can see this is the very, very starting point of walking backwards. And just a little bit of troubleshooting. So if you lure your dog forwards and then you withhold the treat, so you just close your hand, and then you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and the dog is not walking backwards, they're not trying to get back to that platform, it's just a sign you need to go back and build a little bit more value for having their back feet on that platform. The other thing that you'll notice about my training session, I do not just start going, okay, I'm going to bring you 2 steps forward, 3 steps forward, 4 steps forward, 5 steps forward. Instead, we're going to ping pong the difficulty. I could be wrong, but I think it was Ken Ramirez who came up with that term, ping pong the difficulty. So essentially, when we make it harder and our dog gets it right, we then want to do the next repetition so it's nice and easy. We do not want our repetitions just getting harder and harder and harder, because that's not fun and it's very demotivating for the dog. You can see how this would be so much easier for pressure sensitive dogs because you're not walking into their bubble. And here's that bit I spoke about earlier. Chaos misses the platform and he doesn't know what to do, so he starts moving his feet to the side. I try to troubleshoot this by getting him nice and straight again and revisiting the lower criteria. So I'm luring him forwards and just marking and reinforcing as he lifts a foot and then pops it back down again. And you can see this strategy works really well. When he has another attempt at it, he's much straighter and he's able to find that platform.
Well done.
Because he's just had a really hard repetition, I want to make the next one really easy. So we go back to lifting a back foot and then replacing it again. And in hindsight, I really should have done a couple more of those easy repetitions. The result of this is Chaos freezes, essentially. He doesn't know what to do, and it takes him a little moment to then offer the back foot target again. I probably could have avoided all of that uncertainty simply by going back to this easier level of just marking and reinforcing the foot lift and then replace.
Yeah, lovely boy.
The next layer is adding in his verbal cue, so I say, back up, and then I wait for him to walk backwards and find that platform. Then, just like before, I make it easier again. We go back to just lifting a foot and replacing it. And once again, I should have done more repetitions of that lift and place, because when I then try and re-cue the back up, he misses the target. You'll see I still give him praise, I just don't feed him.
Straighten you up.
And when you're raising criteria like this, sometimes you need to take what you can get. Keep their enthusiasm, keep them in the game. Even if the picture doesn't look perfect, reward what you can get.
Good boy. Okay, back up.
Of course, if things just keep going sideways, in this case, literally, then just try again. All I do here is get him right back on the platform. We go back to square one. It's no big deal. And if they make 2 mistakes in a row, then make sure you take it even further back. Drop that criteria and make sure that the next repetition they cannot get wrong. Make it really, really easy so you know that your rate of reinforcement is going to be high enough to keep them motivated. You won't stay at that lower criteria forever. You see when I raise it again, he's quite able to walk backwards and do a few steps and then place those back feet on the target. Don't fall into that trap of thinking, oh, they know this, they're just being stubborn. No, rubbish. We haven't built enough reinforcement history for the behaviour that we're after. It is not their fault, it's ours. We need to go back and look at our training.
Puppy dog. Well done. The final strategy is the magic hand game. This is where we drop food from our hand and our dog catches it in the air.
This is a staple game from Absolute Dogs, and it's really great for teaching anything from focus to proximity to back up to heel. You can see it's got so many uses.
Once they've got that basic skill, we can start working on a weight shift to move forwards and backwards.
Now, I'm taking an actual step here, but if you need to, just move your hand back even a few millimeters and see if they can track that target with their nose.
When they're really, really comfortable at moving backwards, we can actually walk and cue them to go all the way back.
You can see once again, I start off with just a couple of steps. We don't want to raise our criteria too fast. Once they get comfortable and you can see that they're really winning at this, then raise criteria and add in lots of steps.
From there, it's simply a matter of what we call cue transfer. First we present our new cue, back up, then we do our old cue, magic hand. With a few repetitions, the dog will learn they don't need to wait for the magic hand cue because the back up hand signal means the same thing. And you could equally do that with a verbal cue by saying back up or reverse and then use your magic hand game. Just remember, new cue, old cue. Are you ready? Back up.
Don't worry if they don't catch it, just laugh and try again.
Ready?
And you can see already, the moment I say back up, Chaos is already shifting his weight back.
Touch. Good boy. Back up. Good job. Well done. Touch. Good job, Bubba.
In this last part, I test just our verbal cue alone. I say back up, I don't use the magic hand game, and I see if he can follow me.
Yeah, good boy. So there you have it, 4 different ways to teach your dog how to walk backwards. Have some fun with it and let me know how you get on in the comments below. Bye.